Am I the asshole for making my husband feel bad about going on a trip while I'm 33 weeks pregnant, high risk? My husband is planning to go on an all-expenses-paid celebratory trip with colleagues to Europe soon, and is adding a couple of days to see family. At the time of his travels, I will be 32/33 of a week pregnant with our second child. Although I really would love for him to go and have some fun, there's several reasons why I'm not feeling good about him going on this trip. This is a high-risk pregnancy. Our first child was born at 32 weeks being severely growth restricted, weighing less than a kilo. This pregnancy, the same issue has been found, however I am taking medication that seems to work so far. As of 28 weeks onwards, the risks increase, and therefore we are having a growth scan every 2 weeks. These scans are important, and although it seems to all go okay so far, there is a risk that the baby stops growing and needs to be born before the scheduled C-section at 38 weeks. Having said that, all looks okay so far and we are optimistic about making the 38 weeks. I am the caretaker of our toddler, but due to this pregnancy I was told to take it really easy and not lift anything, including my toddler. With my husband away, all of the care would be on me and it would be very difficult to take it easy. We have recently moved to another continent and have no social network or backup in place. If something were to happen, I have no idea who to call to look after our toddler. I would literally be on my own. He would be away for 10 days total, which I think is too long. He would be 2 flights away, total of 15 hours in the air excluding layover. The 32-week mark will be an emotional time for me, as that's when our first child was born through emergency C-section after a very scary pregnancy in which we were never sure he would make it. He spent 2 months in hospital before coming home. Hitting the 32 weeks will be a milestone, but at the same time brings back memories. I'm just not feeling very confident, the further along I get. I am at a higher risk of getting pre-eclampsia and last week's blood test showed heightened values. Nothing concerning yet, but something to keep checking up on. The event will be at a destination famous for its party scene. There will be a lot of alcohol and whatnot involved, making a potential, emergency, flight home impossible. I feel this is inconsiderate and irresponsible considering the situation. Although I don't want to be the one telling him he can't go. I have mentioned to him that I feel uncomfortable with him going on this trip. He says he feels bad for going, but does not consider canceling. Am I the asshole for making him feel bad for going on this trip? Or is he asshole for putting this trip over his wife and children's well-being? Not the asshole. If your husband is old enough to be a husband and father, he's old enough to put his wants aside and focus on his duties. To you, to your toddler, and to your as yet unborn baby. Given all the risk factors for your pregnancy, he WBTA if he went on this trip anyway. He needs to be at home, helping with the toddler, and making sure you're following doctor's orders to protect your baby. Will it suck for him? Yes. Is it a bummer? Absolutely. Does that change things? No. Being an adult means making hard choices, and this is one of those times. Info. What the fuck is wrong with your husband? Not the asshole. He didn't even bother to have a plan in place to help you with the lifting. If he goes, what's the plan? Who cares for you while you are in hospital? Who has say over your care if you happen to remain unconscious? Who cares for you if you deliver? Obviously he doesn't give a shit about you or your children if he is not considering canceling. If he is that concerned about a party, then there's more going on with him. Take that party money to cover the needed help. Not the asshole. The fact that he won't consider not going is telling. He straight up doesn't care his wife might be in harm's way while giving birth to his child. Not the asshole. Your husband is being a major aw. Just look at these together. At the time of his travels, I will be 32/33 of a week pregnant with our second child. Our first child was born at 32 weeks. He says he feels bad for going, but does not consider canceling. He won't cancel this trip that you can't go on to see the birth of his own child because, vacay baby. I find it odd that your husband is comfortable and willing to be so far away for so long at this point in your pregnancy given the circumstances. Info. When you spoke to him, did you lay out your concerns like you have in this post? P.S. I hope all goes well for you and your baby. Am I the asshole for cancelling the trip after my fiancée decided to bring her 10-year-old son with us? I am 33, have been with Natalie F. 32 for 2 years. We're getting married soon and she shares custody of her 10-year-old son with her ex-husband. Ever since her ex-husband got sick, Natalie kept bringing her son over more often. Sometimes her mom would take him due to work etc. We've been having issues because of that because Natalie has to bring my stepson with us whenever we go. We started going out less and less. Since it's been a month since we've gone out and since her ex has gotten better, I've arranged for a trip to the beach for the weekend. It's supposed to be a couple's getaway. She was excited for it and prepared for everything. The night before the trip she comes up to me and says, "Hey, Tom is sick again and he asked if I could take Taylor to spend the weekend with us." I was gobsmacked. I asked what she told him and she said she agreed. She then proceeded to tell me that she'd like to take Taylor with us to the beach. I got upset and told her to not bother because the trip MWAS officially cancelled. She looked at me shocked, but I told her she shouldn't act shocked and surprised after she successfully ruined yet another opportunity for us to have quality, alone time together. She went on about how she couldn't believe that I expect her to ditch her son since her mom was busy as well and getting a babysitter wasn't on the table. I just shrugged and told her it was done, then I walked out. I went with the guys instead and she has been upset with me about it, saying I could have just agreed to let my stepson Tyler come with us and we would have at least had some family time together while Tom gets better. She said I was the one who screwed up. Am I the asshole? Edit info because I feel like this has gone into a whole different direction. Folks here need to chill the fuck out. Nowhere in my post did I mention not being ready or accepting to be a step-parent. Trust me, I am ready and so far have been nothing but understanding and patient. I love my stepson and consider him as my own, but, and read this carefully, my problem is with his mom constantly changing plans last minute and not even asking if that's okay with me. And yes, I had to go out with the guys instead. Didn't know what else to do since she obviously wanted some space from me for the weekend, which is alright with me by the way. I'm not mad about that at all. I just appreciate it if she'd been a little bit more considerate of my thoughts and opinions. For fuck's sake, she didn't change the plan because she wanted to, her ex got sick. Just what exactly did you expect her to do in this situation? Drop the kid off at the orphanage? Leave him home by himself? You are the asshole. You said in a comment that you love the kid like your own. Did you call your family to see if anyone could watch him? You are the asshole for not breaking it off. We haven't been out for a month, is normal in parent land. It's completely fine to not want to be a parent at all or even just right now. Unfortunately, that means not dating a woman that has a child even if she is otherwise the perfect woman. The fact she hoped we could bond as a family tells me she's really hoping you'll grow closer and see him as your stepson, which he is, will be. Whereas your reaction that you need a break from him after spending more time with him than usual because his actual dad is sick. Let alone that your response to all of this is weekend with the boys, rather than talking through your thoughts and feelings like adults. This isn't going to last. The two of you aren't compatible. Edit whoa, thanks for the awards. You are the asshole. Not so much for being annoyed at the specific last-minute change of plans, but for refusing to acknowledge the bigger picture here. Natalie is a mother, whether you like it or not, and her co-parent either isn't in good health or just isn't reliable. Maybe the two of you do need to sit down and have a conversation about what that means for her custody arrangement and Taylor being around more frequently long-term. But given how thoroughly you seem to resent having to put up with the kid, I can't really see any viable ending to that conversation but you going your separate ways so she can find someone who's genuinely okay with being a step-parent. Before edit. You are the asshole. After edit. You are the asshole, but bigger. Oh man, I can't believe this chick I'm dating actually expects me to be cool with her hanging out with her own son. Am I the asshole? Holy Jesus, you are the asshole. Please do this woman a favor and walk away from her. I mean, WTH happens if her ex dies and she has her son 100% of the time? You are in no way ready for someone with a child. Am I the asshole for not letting the marathon cyclists cut through my land, as they have been doing for years? My husband and I bought a home with 15 acres back 4 months ago. On our land we have 2 gates on either side of the field. It was once used for farming, and it's a good distance from my actual house, probably about 4 acres. Well, last week we received a mail notice with a reminder to open both gates for the upcoming bike marathon thing that they apparently have every year to allow access to the cyclists to cut through to get back to the main road. Neither my husband or I are okay with this. First, I truly don't want a bunch of cyclists on my property. As it is, we already can't do anything that day because our whole street is blocked off. Not only that, but this was not mentioned in the sale of the home either. If any of these people were to get hurt on my land, I would be deemed responsible and it was not something I was willing to accommodate to. So I go to the town hall and tell them that our property was not going to be used as a shortcut for cyclists to get back to the main road and said they would need to find an alternative route. It was argued that this is how things have been for 6 years and that it would take far too much time to map out a different route on such short notice. I told them it's not my problem. Well, the day came and went. We kept the gates closed, and despite the fact that these cyclists were supposedly told they couldn't use our property, a lot of them still showed up and got pissed that the gate was closed. I was outside doing gardening when one of the cyclists started berating me for not having it open, stating that I was a selfish Karen, and stated, "Look at me, afraid of bikes, let me be a cunt about it, am I the asshole?" I told them it's not my problem. Yup. It's your property, not the city's. Edit. Not the asshole. Forgot. Given how not your problem this is. Not the asshole. The city shouldn't be relying on private property for an event like that. Wow, 6 whole years? How dare you break such a time-honored tradition? I've got socks that are older than that. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Make sure you have no trespassing signs up. You're right, not your problem. And you can go to the town hall and say that even if you had been considering it for the future, the insults and abuse by the bikers have convinced you to never allow it as long as you live there. So they better get their maps updated. Not the asshole. If I were in your shoes, I would be tempted to write the organizers a letter saying something about how you were thinking of being open to a compromise, but since the cyclists were rude and insulting, that option is no longer being considered. Not the asshole. As you clearly stated, if one of the bikers got hurt on your property, you would be liable. Am I the asshole for dumping all of my stepsister's used hygiene products in her room? I, 16 male, have 3 sisters. 2 older ones and 1 younger one. I also have 2 moms. So basically I've been around the menstrual cycle forever. I'm not an expert, but 1, I know they can hurt, and 2, they're pretty gross. My dad recently remarried and I now have a stepsister. She's pretty gross. She doesn't like to take regular showers and has to be forced to put on deodorant. Her room is always dirty, which I don't care, but all in all she's lazy. My dad's house is set up so that the women get 1 bathroom and the men get another bathroom. My sister is a perfectionist and everything needs to be cleaned and in a certain order. I swear she has OCD. Her room spotless and everything is in a certain order. She also does this to the bathroom. Everything cleaned and in a certain way. My stepsister and my sister menstrual cycle is lined up. Like they get it at the same time. Which has caused my sister to go into distress. This because their bathroom only has 1 trash can, and whenever it's full, instead of my stepsister taking it out, she leaves used products on the ground, making my sister pick them up and throw out the trash. My sister gets pretty bad cramps, and sometimes she can't even get up in the morning. She's been rushed to hospital on multiple occasions because of this. My stepsister never gets them bad, however, she refuses to take the trash out. Which, because I feel bad for my sister, I've started taking their trash out. I've gotten pretty annoyed by this and I told my dad and stepmom about it. My stepmom said that her precious angel has bad period cramps and I don't know what I'm talking about because I'm a boy. Well, the other day I woke up to my sister crying. She was in the bathroom and she let me in. There was menstrual blood on the floor and menstrual products on the floor. I told my sister to lay down while I took care of it and to go use our bathroom. I put on a pair of my stepsister's gloves and grabbed all the products from out the bathroom and threw them all over her room. I even dumped the trash bag all over her room. I left a note on her door saying, "Because you seem to miss the trash bag this morning, I left you a reminder in your room." I didn't clean up the blood either. When my stepsister and dad came home, she started screaming. My dad knew it wasn't my sister and he came to me. So I showed him the bathroom. He was disgusted and made my stepsister clean it. She also ended up having to clean her whole bedroom. When my stepmom came home from work, she was mad at everyone. Mainly me. She said that I was dramatic and that her daughter cleaned it up, but I had no right to humiliate her. So AITA? Not the asshole. Stepmom is being an incredibly inconsiderate parent and is teaching stepsister to be an inconsiderate person. When you make a mess, you clean it up, especially if it's your own bodily fluid. Yeah. I don't like touching the blood clots and whatnot I get when I'm on my period if they somehow manage to get somewhere other than my product or the toilet. But that's what toilet paper and/or gloves are for. You are doing your stepsister a favor. If she were to, for example, live in dorms or with roommates in an apartment, her behavior would not fly. Better to teach her now, within the family, than let her make an absolute fool of herself to the public at large. Not the asshole. I'm 37 and never once in my nearly 30 years of menstruation have I ever left used products on the floor or not cleaned up blood. That's just repulsive behavior. Not the asshole. Do it every time she misses the bin. Nicely handled. Not the asshole. And by the way, kudos for being a good and supportive brother to your sister when she needs you. Most teenage boys would freak at the thought of periods, but you are empathetic and kind. Awesome, kid. Thumbs up. Not the asshole. Your stepsister should help taking care of the trash instead of just leaving the used products on the floor. That's absolutely disgusting, and she's not the only one using the bathroom. I feel bad about your sister. Not the asshole. You obviously have a good understanding of menstrual cycles and also understand that a female can be on her cycle and still be clean about it. You also care very much for your sister and was only looking out for her. Your stepmom is a big asshole for not teaching her daughter how to keep herself clean all the time, but especially when she's on her cycle. She doesn't think her precious daughter does any wrong. God help you and your sister.